The cartoon Masha and the Bear was inspired by one of the greatest tragedies in Russian history. Usually, children's stories portray smiling kids living joyful adventures surrounded by friends, sharing fun and innocent mischief. But behind some seemingly happy animated tales, there may be a dark inspiration that few people know about. This is the case of Masha and the Bear, a popular show worldwide that makes millions of children laugh, but whose origin is tied to a tragic story full of pain and suffering. Today, we're going to uncover the sad connection between this famous cartoon and the dark story that inspired it. It is both emotional and chilling. The series was created in Russia by Oleg Kuzakov and was based on a grim folktale well known among Russians. Beneath the apparent innocence of that fable lies a macabre narrative filled with sorrow. The show's success is undeniable. It has already been broadcast in more than 120 countries. To give an idea, some episodes of Masha and the Bear are among the 15 most watched videos on YouTube. For example, the episode Laundry Day from the first season has over 384 million views. The contrast between the cheerful animation and the tragic story that inspired it makes everything even more disturbing. The cartoon follows the life of Masha, a little girl about 3 or 4 years old who lives in an abandoned train station. She is full of energy and very mischievous, to the point of frightening even the animals living nearby. During one of her adventures, she enters the forest and finds the cabin of a retired circus bear. That's where her story begins. After nearly destroying the place, Masha and the bear form a friendship. The little girl starts visiting him regularly to play and have fun. One striking detail is Masha's purple headscarf, a traditional symbol of Russian peasant women. What many don't know is that this scarf is a direct reference to the original story and its tragic origins, which gave rise to the folktale and later the cartoon. In the Russian folktale, the narrative is much darker, involving themes such as slavery and death threats. In the original version, Masha is a bit older than in the cartoon and lives with her grandparents in an isolated village surrounded by a dense, dark forest. Whenever she went out to pick berries, her grandfather warned her about a cruel bear living in the woods. Despite the warnings, one day the worst happened. Masha went to pick berries but got lost. Alone and vulnerable, she wandered through the gloomy forest where the sunlight barely passed through the trees. In despair, she spotted a cabin. Curious, she went inside and saw it was empty. She found a comfortable armchair and decided to rest. But soon the silence turned frightening. When she tried to leave and find her way back, the sun was already setting. Opening the door, she came face to face with a huge, ferocious bear, drooling and staring directly at her. Frozen with fear, she thought she would be eaten, but when the bear noticed the basket of berries she carried, he became interested. To save her life, Masha offered to bake pies for him in exchange for mercy. The animal agreed, but on one condition: she had to stay as his prisoner and cook for him every day. If she refused, she would be killed. From then on, Masha was held captive in the cabin. Every day, the bear brought her berries and demanded she turn them into pies, always threatening her life. Over time, Masha devised a plan. After the bear had eaten his fill one day, she asked permission to bake pies for her grandparents, promising to return right away. The bear reluctantly agreed, but insisted on delivering the basket himself.
The next day, while the bear was distracted, Masha prepared the pies and hid inside the basket. Unaware, the bear picked it up and headed for the village. When he arrived, he was confronted by fierce dogs barking and growling. Terrified, the bear dropped the basket and fled. Hearing the commotion, Masha's grandparents came outside and found the basket. To their relief and joy, Masha was hiding inside, safe and sound. She hugged them tightly and recounted how she had been held prisoner by the bear and constantly threatened with being eaten. This is the original story, far darker than the cheerful cartoon version, involving heavy themes like slavery and threats of death. Aside from the characters of Masha and the bear, it barely resembles the modern animation, but there is an even more tragic version, based on a real event. In 1820, more than 2 centuries ago, a girl named Masha lived in a peasant village in the Russian countryside. She grew up hearing about circuses in the cities, where bears performed amazing tricks, balancing on bicycles, and even juggling. Fascinated, she dreamed of seeing them and playing with them one day. One day, a circus came to her village. After much pleading, she convinced her parents to take her. That night, the whole family attended the show. But unfortunately, the bear trainer was sick, and the animals would not perform. Masha was deeply disappointed. While her parents were distracted with other acts, the little girl decided to explore the circus on her own. She found the bear's cage and saw they were locked inside. Then she noticed the keys on top of a table. Innocently, she picked them up and opened the cage. The moment the door was opened, one of the bears lunged at her and attacked brutally. Her screams echoed throughout the circus. Workers rushed in with weapons, but it was already too late. Masha lay on the ground, lifeless. The attack left the bears uncontrollable, forcing the workers to put them all down. The tragedy made headlines at the time, shocking the population. Parents began using the story as a warning, saying bears were dangerous and could devour children, urging them never to wander into the forest alone. Over time, this real tragedy was softened into a children's folktale, in which Masha managed to outsmart the bear and escape alive. The story spread through small books and became popular, later serving as the basis for the animated series that conquered the world. However, unlike the cartoon version, where Masha befriends the bear, the real Masha tragically became a victim of her innocence and curiosity. Even today, the show carries several references to its dark origin. For example, the bear's past as a circus performer is shown in the paintings on the walls of the cabin. This is a direct link to the 1820 tragedy. The most striking detail is how the cartoon Masha achieved what the real girl never could, a friendship with the bears. Sadly, the true Masha lost her life because of her childlike naivety. And what about you? Did you already know this macabre story behind Masha and the bear? Leave your comment, give this video a like, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next stories. See you next time.